everybody, welcome back to TechOdyssey. So today I'm here with an unboxing and first impressions video of the Xiaomi Mi 10T Pro 5G. It's a lot of syllables, but there's a lot of stuff in here. For instance, the Snapdragon 865, it does have 5G. Of course, whether that's going to work for you in the US or not is another story, but it has a 5G antenna. It has 8 gigabytes of RAM, and it has two different storage configurations, 128 or 256, 108 megapixel camera, and it's got a macro lens on it. So there's a whole lot of really interesting stuff going on in here. And recently I reviewed their Poco X3 NFC, which is a solid device, and this one I've heard, and I've seen a lot of good things on it over the last month. I'm really excited about testing it out. So before I ruin all the surprises, I do want to say, if this is your first time stopping by the channel, I appreciate you being here. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like and the subscribe button and the little notification bell if you want updates when new videos come out. Now let's take a look at the new Xiaomi Mi 10T 5G. Alright, now here we are with the Xiaomi Mi 10T Pro 5G. So many different short syllable words and letters and numbers, but all of it adds up to a really neat experience. So this actually comes in 3 different colors. I have what's called the Lunar Silver, and it is a sharp looking color. There's also a black color called Cosmic Black and Aurora Blue. Here we go. 6.67 inch screen, Full HD Plus. It's got a 108 megapixel AI camera with optical image stabilization. Really looking forward to testing that out. One of the most important selling points of this phone is the 144 hertz refresh rate, which I gotta tell you, I've been using this all day. It is seriously fantastic. Like it's buttery smooth. It looks even nicer than the 120 hertz, and I didn't even know if that's something that would be possible because the 120 hertz looks so good. Up close and personal here, you can see the camera. It's a large camera there. Big aperture. It should be able to take some pretty good pictures. I've seen samples other people have taken over the last month, and it looks really promising. Of course, you got the 13 megapixel ultra wide and then the 5 megapixel macro. I like that the fingerprint sensor is built into the home button there, and they did that with the Poco X3 NFC as well. Totally love it. I love whenever they put them on the side, not under the screen, no gimmicks, none of that craziness. It's really convenient. It also comes with a case, which is nice, and that right there, we'll look at that in a second. They gave you the dongle for the USB-C to 3.5 millimeter headphone jack, so I like that. Now, of course, we have the world's most meaningless documentation, as always, and we have this clear case. It's a solid clear case. It should last you just fine. I'm glad they put this in here because, of course, there's probably not going to be a whole lot of third-party accessories you can get here in the US, but I'm going to check that out and hopefully have some updates when I get around to my 72-hour and my full review. Speaker on the bottom, USB-C charging port, 5,000 milliamp battery, which is a ton of juice. Now, it does only have, it has 144 hertz refresh rate, so that 5,000 milliamp battery is going to get put to task. It's going to need some power to push that, but I'm hoping it'll still last all day. Like I mentioned, we've got the dongle for the headphone jack. I'm really glad they put that in there. It's like nobody does that anymore. If you're going to take the headphone jack out, at least throw that in there. So I appreciate that. Got a USB-A to USB-C charger here. It's got the little orange connector on there. Xiaomi likes to do that. And then there's the power brick. Unfortunately, this is not one that I can use here in the States. But if you don't live in the States, you get a really nice charging brick to go along with it as well. And the phone is capable of 33 watt quick charge, so it should get recharged pretty fast. And I used my 20 watt or my 18 watt power delivery, and it still recharged pretty fast. So I'm pretty happy with that. Now that we've got it out of the box and we can talk about this a little bit more in depth, I have been using this phone all day and I like it a lot. There are a lot of things that they did really well with this phone, and it's a shame that this phone is not geared towards the US market because it is a really sharp device. Running the Snapdragon 865, 8 gigabytes of RAM. We talked about that already. It's got the fingerprint sensor built into the power button over here, which is really nice, just like on the Poco X3 NFC I reviewed recently. 20 megapixel camera on the front. You have a 108 megapixel on the back. You also have a 5 megapixel macro lens, and you have a 13 megapixel wide angle lens. So it has everything that you possibly need in the camera department. And I've heard that they're pretty good. I've seen some images, I've seen some other stuff that people have posted because this phone came out a little over a month ago. It came out in September. So I'm just now getting my hands on it, but I gotta say I like it. It's running MIUI 12, which is basically Android 10 with their MIUI overlay on it, and I wasn't overly overwhelmed with it whenever it came to the Poco X3 NFC, but with this one, with the 144 hertz refresh rate, it is smooth as butter. Like, they did a good job. The haptic feedback in here is fantastic. It's sharp, it's strong, it's snappy, it's very responsive. It makes for a nice experience. Also, you've got the 6.67 Full HD Plus display on here. It's an LCD screen, but it looks really nice. And the 144 hertz refresh rate is crazy good. Now, I have tested out other phones, like I use my Note 20 Ultra all the time, 120 hertz refresh rate. I use the Pixel 5 a lot, 90 hertz refresh rate. This is my first time getting my hands on a phone with a 144 hertz refresh rate, and it's nice. Like, when 90 hertz came out, I'm like, man, this is it, we've arrived. And then 120 hertz came out, and I'm like, wow, I thought 90 hertz was good. And now with the 144 hertz, I'm like, holy cow, this is good. Like, I like it. It's a really smooth experience. Now, you're not really going to see a whole lot of this on your own unless you've got a high refresh rate monitor that you're watching this on, or a high refresh rate phone. It'll look a little bit better than it does, but I mean, if you've just got a 60 hertz refresh rate on your screen, you're not really going to see the benefits here. But totally nice, totally sharp, very responsive. I like using it, and I'm looking forward to using it some more. I'm going to go take some pictures. I'm going to do some camera footage. I'm going to do my 72-hour review. So a couple of days from now, you'll be able to anticipate that, so you can get to see some more hands-on stuff with it. I'm going to go out this weekend, test out the camera capabilities and other things like that. 5,000 milliamp battery though. It comes with a case. And what was also nice is, you notice in the box there, it's got that USB-C dongle with the headphone jack on it. So you don't have to worry about ordering one of those somewhere else. Yes, it doesn't have a built-in headphone jack, but it's nice that they go the distance and they put that in there. So I do appreciate that. It's got a security update from September, which, I mean, for Xiaomi and for companies that aren't Google, I think that that's pretty decent. Hopefully they keep updating that moving forward. I'd like to see maybe in October or November sometime soon, but it looks sharp. It feels sharp. It is a little on the chunky side. It reminds me a lot of the Samsung Galaxy S20 Ultra. Down to the cameras even, in some regard. It does have the 108 megapixel camera on here now. It doesn't have the 100 times space zoom, which that one had. But this one should be able to reach out and get you some pretty decent photos, especially with the zoom capability. 108 megapixel camera is just, I mean, it's just ridiculous. Lots and lots of pixels shoved in there. Let's go ahead and take this out of the case real quick. I do like the case to keep it protected, but really here, it's just such a nice looking phone. I mean, take a look at that up close and personal. This is something that I would be very, very happy carrying on a day-to-day basis. It's got a nice feel to it. It's got this nice flat LCD screen. I like the flat edge that it has on the top and the bottom. It does have a little bit of a unique form factor to it, even though, yes, it does look a lot like the S20 Ultra, but I don't think that's a bad thing. Now, it doesn't have wireless charging. It doesn't have an IP68 dust and water resistance rating. It is splash resistant from what they're saying, but with regard to IP68, yeah, it would be nice if that were in there, but it's not the end of the world. If you subscribe to my philosophy where phones and electronics don't go in water, then you should be perfectly fine. Also, aftermarket accessories are another concern, but from a phone perspective, from a entertainment perspective, from a day-to-day use perspective, I think this checks a whole lot of boxes. So if you look around and you want to pick one up, it looks like they're about $550, which I think is a really good price for what you get in this. Hardware-wise, spec-wise, I mean, at face value, it's a solid phone. I'm enjoying using it so far. Again, this is my unboxing and first impressions, but really solid looking device. Gorilla Glass 5 on the front and the back. It's got an aluminum frame on it. It is a very, very premium feeling device. And it's got a lot of feeling because, again, it's not on the light side at all. But I mean, it doesn't feel like it's a lead brick or anything, but definitely this is not the thinnest or the lightest phone that I've ever held. But it's made from premium materials. 5,000 milliamp battery should get me through the day. I mean, the battery life is going to get taxed by the 144 hertz refresh rate, but 5,000 milliamps I think should be able to hold up and carry it through the day. Again, this is just my unboxing and first impressions. I am going to be doing a lot more testing with this moving forward. 72-hour review coming up in a few days, and then I'll have my full review in about 10 to 14 days, so you can get the real skinny on the chunky boy. that's all I got. So if you have any questions or comments or things that you're curious about as I go through this review process, please feel free to leave them in the comments section so that I can get that information or we can talk about it. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like and the subscribe button and the little notification bell if you want updates when new videos come out. And also, if you look down there by the subscribe button, there's also the membership button now where you can become a member and support the channel that way. So that's all I've got. As always, I appreciate you being here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.